Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Melanie Cassar. We warmly welcome the family of Private Gordon Edward Corrie, whose story will be told shortly by Sergeant Glenn Piper from the Australian Army, whom is a member of Private Corrie's family. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Club Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem. Please be seated if able. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where family and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private Gordon Edward Corrie. Gordon Edward Corrie was born on the 17th of April 1922, the third of 5 children born to Joseph and Ada Corrie of West End in Brisbane. After his schooling, Corrie worked as a spreader and a baker and lived in Hill End. On the 24th of March 1942, Corrie enlisted to serve in the Second World War at Corrie in the Tablelands regions near Cairns. He followed in the footsteps of his older brother Leslie, who had enlisted in 1940 and served in the army. After a brief period of training, Corrie transferred to East Command and began serving with the 1st Australian Armoured Division in Tamworth. Not long after transferring to this unit, in April 1942, Corrie was reported as away without leave, and a month later, a warrant was issued for his arrest. 2 months later, however, Corrie enlisted again, this time in Brisbane. On this occasion, he enlisted using his middle name, Edward, and gave his birth date incorrectly as 1924, stating that he was 2 years younger. The reason for this is not known. Between 1942 and 1944, Corrie served with several units in Australia, including a brief period in the Butchery Company. This service was, however, marked by frequent and lengthy periods recorded as away without leave, which caused a number of warrants to be issued for his arrest and a court-martial. In March 1944, having returned to the authorities, Corrie adjusted his official records by statutory declaration and provided his full name and correct birth date. This change saw him transferred from the Citizens Military Forces Militia to the 2nd Australian Imperial Force. In July 1944, now part of the 2nd AIF, he sailed from Townsville in Queensland to Lae in New Guinea and began serving with the 27th Battalion, which was performing patrols and garrison duties across the Pacific Theatre. They conducted searches for pockets of the Japanese resistance and provided Allied airstrips and infrastructure. The men of the 27th Battalion became the first Australians to land on Solomon Islands when they took over patrols and surveillance duties on Nissen Island. Corrie served in this unit with his friend Private Ronald Weston, also from Brisbane. Weston would marry Corrie's younger sister, Sylvia, after the war. In 1945, Corrie and the 27th Battalion transferred for service on Bougainville, where they conducted dangerous patrols against Japanese forces in the centre of the island. Later, they moved north to the Bosnis Peninsula, an area known for its strong Japanese presence. In late July and early August 1945, Corrie took part in a routine patrol on the Base 3 area of the Bosnis Peninsula. This patrol successfully established a location of suspected Japanese forces and at one point was responsible for killing 5 Japanese soldiers who unwittingly entered the patrol's perimeter. On the 1st of August 1945, as the patrol returned back to base, Corrie stepped on a self-detonating mine and was killed. He died in front of his friend and future brother-in-law, Ronald Weston. He died just weeks before the Japanese surrender and the end of the Second World War. He was 23 years old. Today, his remains lie buried in Port Moresby Bomber War Cemetery in Papua New Guinea, where over 380,000 Commonwealth casualties of the Second World War now lie. His grave reads, "He died an Australian hero, the noblest death of all." His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my left amongst almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here today at the War Memorial. We now remember Private Gordon Edward Corrie, who gave his life for us, for our freedom and the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we who left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.